to NFL Discussion. I'm your host and NFL enthusiast Dougie Doug. In today's episode, I'm going to be discussing Monday Night Football Week 6 of the 2023 NFL season, Cowboys versus Chargers, and the score of this game was close, but that doesn't mean that good football was being played. When you look at how the Chargers were doing, yeah, they did not play good football, and with that, we'll go ahead and get right into the action, starting with the Dallas Cowboys. So Dak Prescott completed 21 of 30 passes for 272 yards and a touchdown, adding 40 yards and another touchdown on 7 carries. So Prescott would rebound from an ugly Week 5 performance against the 49ers defense with a highly efficient outing, albeit against an underperforming Chargers defense. He found Payne on the ground on the team's second possession to draw the score to even in the first quarter. The two teams would then trade 4 drives for the remainder of the first half before Prescott led a drive ending in a field goal just before the half. Things would ramp up after the break as the Cowboys all would abandon the run in the second half. Prescott would lean on his alpha wide receiver and CeeDee Lamb, and running back Tony Pollard turned a chuck down into a 60-yard gain through the air, padding Prescott's counting stats in the process. The Cowboys now head into their bye week with a 4-2 record, primarily boosted by the performance of their defense through the first third of their season. CeeDee Lamb caught all 7 of his targets for 117 yards, and those 7 targets came on just 30 passing attempts in the game where neither team could move the ball consistently. Even so, Lamb put on a vintage performance, routinely breaking free in all areas of the field. Lamb will continue to contend with sporadic play calling from Mike McCarthy, but he heads into the bye week with his first game over 53 yards since week 2. So overall in this game, Offense had a good start to the game, but then kind of stalled out and didn't really show up until the end, where Prescott got the team in field goal range, and then the kicker kind of kicked a field goal to put him up, and that was the game winner right there. But comparing Prescott's performance to Herbert's performance, I'd say, Prescott was the better quarterback. Sure, he didn't have, a couple passing touchdowns like Herbert did, but I think you gotta look past the stats. You gotta look at the film and see who played better. And Dan Quinn versus Kellen Moore, the former Cowboys offensive coordinator. Well, I think it's safe to say Dan Quinn got the better of Kellen Moore there. Micah Parsons was held in check for most of the night until it mattered the most. In the end, Micah Parsons closed out the game with a sack. So Dan Quinn certainly got the better of Kellen Moore in this game. And for the Cowboys, 4-2 going into the bye week is pretty good. And they got beaten pretty bad by the 49ers, but I think this game against the Chargers kind of reminded that Dallas is still a good football team. They might not be great, but they're still good. And considering how the Giants and Commanders are, well, the Giants definitely out of playoff contention, and the Commanders probably out of playoff contention as well. There is some room for the Cowboys to sneak into the postseason. I think they are ranked within the top 7 in the NFC, so Cowboys still a playoff team. Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert completed 22 of 37 passes for 227 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception, adding 20 yards and 6 carries. And Herbert largely played well in the face of relentless pressure from the Cowboys, doing well to take just 1 sack in the evening. Cowboys' offense, though, struggled to consistently move the ball against the man-heavy deep Cowboys defense, but still had a chance to even the score before Herbert would throw an interception to end the game, sending the Chargers to a lowly 2-3 record and 2.5 games behind the division-leading Chiefs. Speaking of which, the Chargers travel overhead next week to take on their division rivals and will need a win to keep pace in the standings. Keenan Allen got 7 of 11 targets for 85 yards and a touchdown. Allen remained the unquestioned lead pass catcher for the Chargers, even with the return of running back Austin Eckler to the lineup, seeing 11 targets and 37 pass attempts on the evening. The Cowboys made things difficult from the start, but numerous offensive penalties consistently put the Chargers behind the sticks, proving too much to overcome in the loss. So bad game from Herbert. The stats do tell a better picture, but Herbert had a pretty good start to the game with that touchdown drive, and then after that pretty much did nothing the rest of the game for the most part until he did score again. But even with Austin Eckler back in the lineup, the running game was just not there for the Chargers. And another thing that I guess the Chargers decided, because this is normally associated with the Cowboys as red zone struggles, but I guess the Chargers decided to take it away or take the honor from the Cowboys for this game and be the team with the red zone, the missed red zone opportunities. And I think part of that has to do with just the absence of Mike Williams. He's such a good wide receiver. He's been such a good wide receiver for this team. When Keenan Allen's not available, you can throw it to Mike Williams. When you need to, get the ball down the field and score, when Keenan Allen's not available, Mike Williams is. And without Mike Williams in the lineup, well, the passing game just isn't quite the same. I mean, Jared Everett is trying at tight end. Austin Eckler just returned to the lineup, and Joshua Palmer also just returned to the lineup as well. So I think the offense still kind of working things out, coming out of the bye, getting people healthy and back to 100%. But I'll give credit to the defense, though. They certainly played well in this game, well, until the end. But yeah, I think that's how that one went. And for the Chargers, in a bad spot right now, under 500. But I think this team could still find a way to sneak into the postseason. They might not necessarily look like contenders, but I think they could find a way again to sneak in. Unlikely, how likely it is, or whether or not they do it, we shall see. And with that will conclude this episode of NFL Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button down below.